romantic land, where warm velvet nights are perfumed by wild flowers and caressed by softly strumming guitars. If only it were true. Like a lot of other foreigners, I used to think that Spaniards were practically issued with guitars at birth, and that the land would be littered with passionately gifted players. Unfortunately, the real fact is that there aren't so very many guitarists in Spain. In fact, there are probably rather more in Britain today. But you can find rare and beautiful guitar music if you know where to look and listen. If you push through the cluttered confusion of the older streets of Seville, you may be lucky enough to hear, beyond the chattering of men and the singing of birds, the playing of a guitar. For this way leads to the home of my friend Pepe Martínez. And Pepe Martínez is a master flamenco guitarist. When I first climbed these stairs 10 years ago, I only knew Pepe from his records. Since then, he's taught me much about music, something about life, and his wife's learned to make a fair cup of English tea.
Sí, ¿cómo está? ¿Cuánto tiempo sin verte? ¿Y ahí? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cuándo has venido? ¿Cuándo has venido?
Llegué ayer.
¿Pasa? ¿Cómo el viaje?
Bastante bien,
¿Sí? ¿Sí? Asunción,
¿Qué?
prepara una taza de té para Terry.
Ahora mismo.
Que sea inglés.
Bueno, bueno.
¿Ok?
Sí, ok.
Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. That's good. That's good, yes. Okay, another one.
De Málaga.
A ver.
In flamenco, music is seldom written down. The master demonstrates and the pupil follows as best he can.
La otra. Eso. Vamos a ver las variaciones que ya te he enseñado.
Sí. Yo voy a explicarme. Pepe isn't really a teacher. He's far too successful as a recitalist to have the time. So a friendly lesson soon becomes a solo. Cigar, pyjamas, and all. The cigar keeps him going, and the pyjamas keep him comfortable. This is flamenco. Spontaneous and beautiful. Flamenco is something like the pretty birds that are sold in the market near Pepe's home. The guitarist is free to extemporize, but within the confines of strict conventions. Music in a cage, as it were.
Tiene octopus, chicken, cigala, lobster, arroz.
Pepe Martínez can afford to eat at an expensive riverside restaurant with his wife and 2 daughters, and that makes him special. Most flamenco guitarists would think themselves lucky to get in here to play in the cabaret, let alone to buy a big meal. For in Spain, surprisingly and sadly, guitarists are practically second-class citizens who can barely make a living. But Pepe does very nicely, thank you. Constantly booked for theatrical tours all over Spain and a trip to England every year. Pepe's great gift is the lyrical quality of his playing, and this makes him much in demand as an accompanist to Spain's leading flamenco singers. But no engagement would keep him away from Seville just before Easter. He always comes back for Holy Week. Seville, it has long been recognized, is the place to see Holy Week. It is a spectacle, and the preparations have the same ramshackle air of emergency that disarranges London for coronations and state funerals. And Holy Week resembles a blend of both such solemn events. Scaffolding is scaffolded so that stands can be stood in a smoothly determined operation that starts several days before Palm Sunday. Every nut and bolt spreads frames of barriers that make it progressively difficult for pedestrians and eventually impossible for motorists. In Seville, in Holy Week, normal life practically stops. In England, we may get by with a few extra weddings, a quick prayer and an Easter bonnet, but in Spain, they go into mourning for the crucifixion. And the most spectacularly sad centre of grief is Seville. There are over 50 parish churches, and they all display posters of their own Virgin Mary. And if you go inside the church, you may see her robes, and perhaps begin gradually to understand the adoration, there is no other word, the adoration that permeates the city during Holy Week. Hundreds of life-size religious images will be carried through the streets, that all may see the costliness and intricacy and art and workmanship and devotion that are woven with the silver threads into fabrics and structures of veneration. Ole! Have a whiz round Seville with Pepe. Learn how the Moors carried the sand up and up as they built the famous Giralda Tower.
Bueno, Terry, ¿qué te parece esta hermosura? Que los moros subían with a little donkey cargados de arena hasta arriba, hasta arriba, hasta arriba, dando vuelta, vuelta.
Hasta
poco a poco, hasta el final de esto que lo quedaron todo construido. Pero una maravilla, ¿eh?
Sí.
Marvelous, marvelous.
The Seville bullring is said to be the most beautiful in Spain, which gives Pepe pride, despite the fact that he doesn't care for bullfighting. The point is that it's in the city he was born in. He calls Seville the capital of the world, and it most certainly is the capital of his world. Look at the beautiful oranges. Smell the exquisite perfume. Ah, Seville is a garden paradise. Actually, the oranges are grotesquely bitter, fit only for marmalade that Pepe wouldn't touch with a Spanish barge pole, but they're Seville oranges, in the capital of the world. Come on, get back in the car.
Plenty orange in the tree, you know?
This is the Bar Tremendous, so called because the beer is tremendously good. All that travel book garbage about Spaniards endlessly squirting wine down their throats is a bit misleading. They drink oceans of beer and export the wine to us. When the weather's really hot, Pepe pops in here for a pint in his pyjamas, which is a rare sight.
Hombre, next autumn, all my friends in England...
No speak English.
No speak English? Cago tu mola. Tu parli italiano?
Oh, molto italiano.
Ole!
Devi sapere cantare in italiano, eh?
Sì? A ver, cántame algo.
At his tailor's, as almost everywhere else, Pepe makes his very presence an event. I think he's the most positive and complete man and artist that I've ever met. He knows exactly who he is and enjoys being a celebrity. So, 3 new suits for Holy Week and a comfortable jacket for playing the guitar in.
Esto es lo más confortable que yo tengo for play. This is double jersey. For his own pleasure and the delight of those lucky enough to be listening, Pepe sometimes plays in his father's patio. It's an utterly Andalusian scene. Pepe's mother, who was a noted saeta singer, bought him his first guitar when he was 11, but she died 2 years later. His stepmother is there to listen, though, and so is his father, who's a substantial businessman. Pepe is playing sevillanas, simple traditional tunes that he develops into cameos of rare brilliance.
¿Qué te ha pasado, Terry? Do you like?
Of course I like. Sevillanas, played by a Sevillano in Seville. Perfect. But to judge a guitarist of Pepe's distinction, you should hear him play one of the deeper, freer flamenco forms that gives him real scope. Pepe's music becomes a gift to his church, as do the lesser skills of other men as the preparations for Holy Week approach a measured crescendo. The gold leaf is real, and the slight amount of perspiration on a man's face is just enough to make it stick to the brush. Such careful care and caring give the work in the church an air of devotion. Pepe, a prominent member of the parish brotherhood that organizes the Holy Week activities, comes every year to witness the dressing of his Virgin.
Very nice.
Each church has at least 2 floats, called passos, one for the Virgin Mary and one for Christ. One passo here was burned in the Civil War when 20,000 churches were destroyed, but the Christ was saved.
Silvio, ¿qué me ha dicho?
The 17th century. El Cristo 17th century. Esto es nuevo, new from 1937. El paso. Porque
estaba...
antes,
sí,
en la guerra civil, en el año 36, los rojos, los del otro partido,
sí,
quemaron muchas iglesias y muchas cosas y quemaron el paso nuestro allí en el almacén.
The men fluffing up the flowers to decorate the passos are old enough to remember the Civil War and such outrages as the assassination of 13 bishops and over 7,000 priests. But those atrocities were as much against the establishment as the church, and religious faith is still strong. For Spanish Catholics, Easter is the most deeply significant event of the year, and for a Sevillano, the feeling that he has for the Virgin of his church is very close to love. Pepe at a party, happy to play for nothing among friends in a last Andalusian fling before the solemnity of Holy Week. This is a juerga. That's flamenco talk for a knees up.
Este modo de tu serás
When the dancing is over, the songs have been sung, the sherry finished, and everybody's gone home, Pepe will put his guitar away, and he won't play it again until Holy Week is over. The penitents who walk in the Holy Week processions are not priests. They're ordinary men, bank clerks, bakers, bus conductors, who belong to lay societies to which they're often admitted at birth. They walk voluntarily as an act of faith, to atone for sins, or to fulfill a private vow. Their reasons are their own. Each float is carried from beneath by 36 labourers who sweat in blind darkness, hidden by heavy curtains and guided from outside by instructions and the rhythm of the band. Each procession takes up to 12 hours. There are frequent stops, but the penitents must not fall out. Neither are they supposed to eat, drink, talk, or relieve themselves. Few of them endure that degree of self-mortification, but most try to suffer to some extent, as Christ did. Whether a penitent walks in bare feet, carries an extra heavy cross, or even clamps chains to his ankles, as some do, is a matter for individual conscience. Pepe seldom feels the necessity to repent anything and chooses the way of less discomfort, with his family assisting as acolytes. Andalusian men expect their women to look after them. A penitent's complete outfit costs about £15 to have made, but it lasts even longer than a lifetime. It is every true Sevillano's deathbed wish that his Holy Week cloak be used as his shroud. Pepe's father entered his two sons for his church society when they were very young. That's Pepe in the middle, pictured when he had rather more hair to comb and rather less of a waistline to encircle with the wide raffia belt that all the penitents have to wear. The Martínez family watch all the processions from special seats. When Pepe's own procession walks by, his little girl won't be able to recognize him behind his mask, but he'll hand her a sweet so that she knows it's her daddy. During the Spanish Inquisition, heretics condemned to be burned at the stake wore costumes like this. That the infamous American Ku Klux Klan have since adopted the dress is a development that the Sevillanos prefer to ignore. Just before the Virgin in Pepe's church is taken out for her annual journey, her workaday crown is replaced with the heavily jewelled processional crown, which is normally kept locked up in a safe. It is, they say, beyond price. The Sevillano Catholic Brotherhoods are rich, and in addition, aristocrats lend them extra jewellery at Easter, so that literally millions of pounds worth of precious stones are carried through the streets of the city. It is intended that the people should be impressed, and they always are. It isn't just the splendour of the garments and the jewellery. For very many people, during Holy Week, the Virgins seem uncannily to be real. Although the 50-odd processions start off from different churches by different routes, they all, in turn, pass the town hall. Then there isn't a single empty seat. This is Ferrier Street, and that's Pepe walking down it, strangely anonymous for a popular and portly figure, usually distinguishable by a jutting cigar and a constant readiness to return greetings. Pepe's lived in this district all his life, and normally it's very flamenco, as they say. Bustling, crowded, lively, friendly, noisy. But in Holy Week, most of the shops are closed, and there's an almost uneasy emptiness. Just a few curious people standing about to watch the penitents arriving at the church. For all the religious fervour that sweeps over Spain during Holy Week, many people resent the great power of the church, which is reinforced by the power of the state. The Guardia Civil, armed, always join the processions. The procession is about to leave the church. There's just the roll call.
Sebastián Bizcocho. José José Antolino Bernal. José Villar Morales.
When the huge, expensive candles spill their grease along the long route, children will try to catch the drips. They mould them into lumps like snowballs for luck. The church is so crowded that only a few privileged relatives can get in to see the procession off. Anyway, the best view is from outside, where there's a great crowd waiting. The penitents are nearly ready now, and so are the labourers. They wear headrests padded with sand and sawdust to protect the backs of their necks, but all have bruises and scars from the carrying beams under the passos. A deafening knocker will be thumped to tell them when to lift and lower. And so the journey starts. It happens every year, but it is always new. There is always a crowd, and they always gasp at the lifelike figures. For Sevillanos, Holy Week is the pivot of the calendar. It's possible that the labourers who carry the passos endure more discomfort than the penitents themselves. Of course, they do the job for money, not love, but they're fiercely proud of their skill and strength. One of the most haunting sounds to be heard in Holy Week is a saeta, which is a spontaneous burst of song that may come like a sad arrow from a singer in the crowd or on a balcony. Usually, it is a passionately devout declaration of love for the Virgin. Everybody stops and listens.
Con qué pena, con qué pena.
However movingly impressive the song may be, for the passo carriers, it's mostly a chance for a breather and a drink, if they're lucky. The return to the church is the most difficult maneuver. With about 4 inches clearance all round, the passo is taken through the door backwards to keep the tradition that the Virgin always faces the crowd in farewell, until next year. When Holy Week is over, there's a great silence in Seville, as though the whole city had attended a funeral and hadn't quite got over the feeling of loss. It's proper funeral weather, too, a special kind of sorrowful drizzle that often dampens the streets at this time of year. There are usually 1 or 2 processions that have to be cancelled in case rain should damage the holy images. Still, all the Virgins and all the Christs are safely tucked away in their churches now. And as soon as the chairs are stacked, there'll be nothing left of Easter except a memory that seems to be so much deeper in Seville than anywhere else. From the top of the Giralda, the great tower that Pepe Martínez is so proud of, Seville looks very much as it has done for many years. But it's spreading and developing very quickly. The Sevillanos may stop work for 1 week of the year to hold religious processions, but for the other 51 weeks, they're busy building. And Pepe has been affected by this concrete boom. After a lifetime in the gutsy and flamenco Ferrier Street, right in the middle of the city and practically under the shadow of the Giralda Tower, he's moving out to a modern flat in a new suburb. It's so posh that I can't think what the neighbours will say when he practices the guitar at 3 o'clock in the morning and opens the front door in his pyjamas. But he's delighted with the move. The accommodation is vastly superior, and the flat is tangible proof of his success. He even puts it in a new light.
Ahora te voy a enseñar el exterior de todo esto para que veas la zona abierta de aquí.
Good, thank you. I want to see it.
Dámela. This is una garden for children in the front.
Yeah.
All this. Very soon.
Very different from Ferrier Street.
Oh yeah, very different, yes, very different. More traffic, but no more people.
So, on the terrace of his new flat, it's clear that my friend Pepe Martínez has gone up in the world, and in the capital of the world at that. I'm glad for him, but I have a small worry, and it goes like this. Seville, Andalusia, the whole of Spain, in fact, seems to me to be getting slightly intoxicated with bright new blocks of flats and other signs of progress, and it could be in danger of leaving its older richnesses behind. Pepe's kind of music grew out of the clutter of old streets under the Giralda Tower, not up here in expensive space-age comfort. I do hope he remembers that, now and through all the Holy Weeks that he has yet to come.